The Porchcast with Brandon and Christian. Brandon and Christian. The Porchcast with Brandon and Christian.
We are live. Welcome back to the Porchcast.
Episode 2.
Yeah. So I feel like for a lot of people, there's probably, if you were to look at how many episodes of each of podcasts, each series of podcasts there's been, I bet you one's the most common by far.
You think that a lot of people, it's just one and done?
As far as the most common, yeah, because if you ever look, have you ever looked at a Spotify artist that doesn't have many albums out and you look at what their most popular songs are? It's usually their single and the first song on the album is always a really popular song. People will always start the album. You have to listen to the first song to start the album. But as you progress throughout the album, other than popular songs, the chances that you listen to that song get less and less. So like the song before the last song is probably one of the least listened to songs because the last song's probably sick and the song before that is like the hardest song to get to.
Yeah, of course. But what does that have to do? What are you trying to say in regards?
It's easiest to make one podcast, just like it's easiest to listen to the first song of an album.
Okay.
So I think that I would be curious to see. But so if that's the case, we already are above average podcasters.
I think so too, especially because, we do not really... this is just something that we would do anyway. Or I feel like I would prefer to just have the conversations that we would normally have on the porch, but now we're recording it.
Right.
So I'm not going to go on as many racist tirades,
Yeah, I get that.
Things like that.
Racism, though, you think you judge a book by its cover?
Yeah, definitely. Not that way, though, but we did talk about this before. I think it's important to judge a book by its cover, not with people. Well, that too, but just in a more kind of casual sense. I think, like, if you see a cool CD cover or book or maybe movie poster, I think that's really important because that's the hook, really.
Okay, I get that. But are you saying this specifically not from a human perspective, or are humans still fair game in terms of judging by their covers?
I think everyone kind of does that because, I mean, even if you say that you don't judge people by their cover, I mean, you could see someone with a samurai sword and he's got, tattoos on his face and he looks really angry. You see that guy and then you see another guy who's just kind of in a suit walking by the street.
Right.
You're going to have a different reaction.
Yeah.
Whether you think that you won't or not.
You really hate face tattoos.
I don't hate face tattoos, but I just don't.
You hate face tattoos. You're wrong. I don't even know if you know how much you hate face tattoos.
I think I think that usually is a really good indicator of poor judgment.
I don't disagree with that.
And I think a lot. I'm not alone there. I don't think that's a controversial opinion.
No, I totally get that. But it is your go-to. You think it's the most trashy thing because it is your go-to. If we're talking about the grocery store, you talk about the people you don't like at the grocery store, you always bring up their face tattoos. And now here we are again talking about judging a book by its cover. And one of the first things you bring up about people whose cover you want to judge is the face tattoo. And so it's interesting that it's that prominent on your mind. I'm not saying that I disagree with you, face tattoos. While there's probably some cool ones, in my opinion, for the most part are an insane idea and a not probably thoughtful idea.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think a good analogy would be a poison dart frog. It's something that you see it and you're like, okay, I should stay away from that. So... And I'm sure that people with face tattoos are aware of that, or at least I would hope so.
You would think. You would think. You would think, but they probably are like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I fucking
Give a crap.
this is my
Yeah.
my brother. Fuck you. If you had to get a face tattoo, what would you get?
That's a good question, actually. Probably something that says, you know what, like, yes, it's a face tattoo, but also, you know, you shouldn't be worried. Like a little smiley face, like maybe on the temple.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, the temple. I think the temple can work if you really have to. The temple can work.
Like triangle.
Like a triangle or like shooting stars.
Yeah.
I think that was the whole thing. I think a girl really got shooting stars.
She did, and she claimed that she fell asleep while she was doing it, and the tattoo artist just went, just scrabble all over her. And this was a while ago. That was probably like 2009, maybe.
It was high school, yeah. So
Probably.
between 2009 and 2013.
But from what I remember, she sued the guy, but it kind of came out that she totally just asked for that.
Oh, of course.
Because
like the think about it from the tattoo. Okay, the girl fell asleep. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's think about it from the tattooer's perspective. Did he think she wouldn't know who did it or how it happened?
it's not a good alibi.
It's not a good alibi. It's not a good alibi at all.
Also, a very good indicator. That's poor judgment. If you come up with a easily disputable alibi for why you did something, that's a good indicator of poor judgment.
Uh-huh.
That's another indication.
That's a red flag.
Yeah.
It's a red flag.
So I think that's boosting my point.
So, do you think she regretted it when she saw it?
That's a possibility. That's a strong possibility. Another possibility is that she has a insatiable need for attention, which led her to not only get a face tattoo, but want everyone to know about it and create this sensational narrative surrounding it. It's another possibility.
Interesting. Oh my God, we forgot to thank the sponsors. Thank you to Tiki Torches, of course, as always, our favorite sponsor.
I was actually thinking about sponsors again, and I would love a kombucha sponsorship because
that's true. Well, what's the brand of the kombucha we like? Let's drop a like for him.
I don't know what it stands for, but that's the one I like.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought it had a longer name than that.
I think it's just GT. And it says Synergy on it.
Yeah.
Love them. They're too expensive for.
They're really not.
For the
$3.49 for, well, it depends on how much you want.
Yeah, I would like to drink one every day. I think that would be awesome. That's the world I want to live in. But I can't really justify spending $20+, $25 on kombucha a week. That's a lot.
Yeah, can you believe how much people spend on? People spend at least that much on coffee.
I can believe that, but at the same time, I could not justify that.
A lot of money.
Even just buying K-cups is a lot.
K-cups are expensive. Yeah, mine's dirt cheap. I make coffee, goddamn, probably 33 cents a day. I would say is really where I'm sitting at.
That's a good deal. But there's a lot of things, though, that you just have to choose your battles.
Definitely. Yeah, no, 100%. And like, I choose my battle. Like lately, I chose a new battle. I was waging another battle recently where I would only get pure protein bars. You've had pure protein bars before, right? Like the chocolate fudge, and they're really dry. The blue and white.
Is there a protein bar that is not really dry?
Yeah, these Quest bars that I get. They're delicious. I would honestly eat one for dessert, and I would be like if you put a Snickers in front of me and a Quest bar in front of me, obviously with what they are, with the Quest bar having no sugar and like having some pretty good fiber and like being good, like pretty decent, I would pick the Quest bar. And if they both were the same nutrients, it'll be close. They're pretty good. They have a bunch of different flavors. They have a chocolate donut with sprinkles. So thank you to our sponsor, Quest bars, for sure. But they're $2.29 a pop.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, and I have one about every day. Whereas pure protein bars are between $1 and $1.50 a pop, which is still a decent price. But Quest bars are so much better than pure protein bars that it's become a no-brainer for me to just splurge on the Quest bars.
I ate so many protein bars in college that and also peanut butter and jelly, that I could go the rest of my life without either and just feel really good about that.
Dude, speaking of which, you know how I have peanut butter and jelly every day for lunch, right?
You changed it up, right? I saw some cold cuts in there.
So get this, man. So for the audience at home, I've been eating a peanut butter and jelly every day since we moved out here. I would say longer than that. I would say for probably coming up on a year. Of pretty much every day. And recently, not even because I wasn't enjoying it or because I was bored, but more so for the pure spontaneity of it and pure just like changing it up. I decided to do a chicken sandwich with cheese. And last night, I went to go make my chicken sandwich with cheese, and I made a peanut butter and jelly on accident, without even thinking about it. My subconscious took over and just decided for me. I'll tell you what, I was pretty happy about it this morning.
So what did you get? You got chicken breast, and what else?
Well, do you remember that? Oh, so it gets really interesting.
Does it though?
Yeah. So first of all, do you remember the Blazing Buffalo chicken? I used to get it at Publix. It was like a deli meat. I got that, but I got dairy-free cheese.
Why?
I think that I'm lactose intolerant. I do.
What is dairy-free cheese?
I really don't know.
What does it taste like?
So that's the shitty thing. I don't put that much on it, and I meant to.
What do you put on your sandwich then?
Just those two things.
No spread, no topping.
I should put a spread on it. But I really just want to just eat it and get it over.
I'm surprised you eat carbs with as particular you are.
That's what I'm saying. I'm eating the carbs, so I can't afford the mayo.
What if you got a low-fat mayo? That's a thing, right?
It is a thing, yeah. Usually low fat means high sugar. I'm actually not even that worried about fat. I'm not worried about any specific thing. It's more just about like the fact that I'm monitoring it.
You try to maintain as many different little things as you can so that you can kind of make sacrifices elsewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, I follow.
Like I like to drink. I like to go out to eat and like really fucking do it big one night on the weekend. And even that makes me nervous. And I like doing that.
Because are you afraid that you'll get fat?
No, I'm not afraid of getting fat. In fact, I think about it sometimes and I'd almost be okay with it. It would almost be like, I think about it a lot where I was like, it's almost better if I was like if I would just let loose a little bit and just fucking
I would
eat.
probably really give you a hard time though if you started getting fat. Like I think as soon as it became even slightly noticeable, I would be like, "When's the baby due, bro?"
You're right. You're right.
And I would say something like that without even thinking about it.
That's right. You would. Yeah.
Because most people, you cannot, if they're getting fat, you can't say anything.
You know what? And this is gonna make you sound like an asshole, and he's not. I would do the same thing if the roles were reversed. But you would probably almost bring it up to others. Like, you guys think Brandon's getting a little chubby, and I don't think that is out of the realm of possibility or ridiculous for our friendship.
Yes, because you know that you can give it right back to me, and I would encourage that and also get a real kick out of it because it's just coming from a place of. It's just kind of I think it's funny, really.
Yeah. I also think I stand to gain a few pounds. So I think when it was noticeable, I probably wouldn't be fat.
Yeah, but it's also. Do you think that's too much? To call someone out that because I think that you could handle it. That's the thing. I think you could handle that type of humor. I guess.
I'll tell you what, I gotta say,
a roast.
I could handle it from you. I could handle it from you because I know you and I know kind of where it's coming from. But I would say I have a really unhealthy relationship with food. I really do. And I have an unhealthy relationship with my with my body image for sure. And so I would probably count it among one of my larger insecurities for no reason.
Well, I think that the more, and this is, you would know this too, very prevalent in fitness communities, but also especially in weightlifting, which you were into for a while.
Yeah.
Body image issues are rampant among that community because, especially if you're in a gym, you're constantly surrounded by people that are in incredible shape, and it's just human nature to compare yourself to others.
That's right.
So when you're in that environment constantly, which you go out in public, and how many people do you see? They're like, dude, that guy lifts a lot. Really, not that many, but in a gym, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and I had that experience too when I lifted, because I would constantly be looking at everybody else and be like, why aren't I like that? Why can't I gain weight or muscle? Why can't I be like that person? And dude, as soon as because I kind of had a on and off relationship with lifting for a while, and now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm not lazy because I can be consistent with something.
Yeah.
Especially something fitness related. I just don't like lifting weights. I don't like it. I don't like being inside, cooped up in a gym. I don't like being surrounded by a bunch of other people. I don't like having to wait for something, a machine or a spot. I don't like having to pay a membership somewhere. There's a lot. The list goes on. There's a lot of things that I don't like about it, and I guess I kind of lost my train of thought. The body
running isn't any of those.
Yeah,
things.
but yeah, the running has an advantage to every like disadvantage that comes with
being at
lifting in a gym. I'm good. But my point being though that for yourself, maybe the body image issues come from how immersed you are just in fitness, because those things kind of are comorbid, I guess would be the word. What do you think?
What do I think about where it comes from?
Yeah.
I think it comes from a couple things. I think it comes from a place of kind of what you're talking about. I work so hard on it that I don't want to waste it. And so if I ever do something that's against protocol for me, then I feel like I devalue a lot of hard work, right? Because it's like you can eat well for a week and then eat really shitty for one day and virtually undo that good week. And
it's not sustainable, I guess, or it's very difficult to sustain. If you want an excellent physique, if you want to have abs, like I guess that would be the best example. That's like the crowning achievement of fitness, I guess, is to have a nice six-pack, which is something that unless you're very gifted genetically, you can get, but you know, getting it is one thing, keeping it would be another thing.
Yeah, and I have one most of the time, which is nice. It's definitely not as prominent of one as somebody with a different body style could have. Some people have abs naturally.
Another thing, though, too, is how often do you even have your shirt off? Like, not you, but anyone, really.
So, you don't know this, actually. This is you finding this out. I don't wear a shirt the whole time I'm at yoga.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a common thing?
It's common. I would say that the guys who are not as in good of shape don't do it. And the guys that are in better shape tend to do it. And the guys that go there a lot tend to do it more because they feel more comfortable at the studio. But yeah, I take my shirt off within a few minutes of starting, and it's off for the whole little over an hour.
So it's pretty much just there, though, that you get to... Is it like showing off, or is it just kind of a comfort thing, or is it both?
If I wore like really tight shirts, I would keep it on. But it's A, like we go upside down a lot, and so my shirt will come down, and B, it's fucking really hot in there. I don't do it for not hot yoga. Sorry, let me clarify that. If it's regular yoga, I won't do it.
Okay. Because I've done hot yoga before, and I wore a shirt, and it got soaked. So
yeah, yep. It's my towel too. My shirt's my towel.
Okay.
But the point being, I do spend a lot of time around a large group of people with my shirt off. A large group of people that are focused on the situation. in the room. So I do think it comes up for me.
That's fair. And if you want to feel good about yourself shirtless, or especially in that situation,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you feel like doing. It's
Yeah.
just about, well, how concerned are you with how meticulous you are about your diet and how that might also be causing more problems?
I've been getting more concerned about it lately. I think last night was a good example where I could have had more fun and been more invested if I was like eating more. But
What you do last night?
we made dinner at Ben's place out by his grill. I wouldn't say I held back, and I like ate dessert, but I didn't want to. And I wanted another beer, and I didn't because I knew I had to have dessert. Like it's like that's what my head.
Well, you're not
was.
crazy about dessert though, anyway, right?
There's better things than dessert, but I do love dessert. If dessert's there, after I eat dinner, I really like dessert.
Yeah, it is nice to have something kind of sweet after you're done eating.
That's what the grapes are so useful for, because they really are sweet. They pack a punch, but
well, there's probably a good amount of sugar in them. Also,
I've looked it up a few times, and all reports come back positive. It is fruit. All fruit has a lot of.
You don't like the
sugar.
purple ones?
They're a little too sweet for me. I like the sour ones.
It's interesting that it's kind of the same thing with apples. There's the red ones and the green ones.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I think the green ones, well, I guess with grapes too, I think the green ones are vastly inferior to their counterparts.
Yeah.
I don't really like red apples though either, but
Yeah.
I think they're a lot better than the green
You would
ones.
like Honeycrisps. They're sick. They're like a hybrid model.
What's
But
that, like a golden apple?
it's just the one I get. I would say that's kind of still similar, but it's like literally red and green.
That's kind of cool. I like the ones that are with caramel on them.
Yeah, with the I think they put peanuts on it too.
Do you think they just grow like that? Or how does that work?
Have you ever seen how asparagus grows out of the ground?
No.
It's I don't actually know if this is true. I saw a meme the other day that implied that asparagus comes out of the ground like just one.
That'd be funny. You know how trees have sap in them?
Yeah.
What is that? Do you know what it is?
I would liken it to honey, maybe.
That's what I was thinking. Like you tap into an apple and just caramel comes out.
That would be good. Dude, I've been meaning to ask you, what do you think about airports?
I hate them. Do you want me to recall my harrowing experience?
So I'm gonna yeah, I want to go in depth. I want to dive in. I want to dive in.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. It's almost airport time. I want to start there. You're about to go to the airport. How are you feeling?
I feel as good as I am likely to feel that day because I know that I am stepping into. Can I preface this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So my folks both work for the airline, and that comes with certain privileges, which include free airfare, quote unquote. So when you fly standby, you kind of have to. You can see in advance how many open seats are on a flight.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you know that there's a really good chance you'll get on a flight. Sometimes you know there's a okay chance, and other times you know that you have a really bad chance of getting on a flight. But what happened to me the other day when I came home from vacation, there was 4 flights to Denver from Charlotte, North Carolina throughout the day, and they were all good. There was many open seats on all of them. So all signs say it's going to be an easy day. Worst case scenario, you might have to go to the second or third flight.
Yeah.
So I get to the airport, and originally I tried getting on an earlier flight than was scheduled for myself, just to try, and I didn't end up getting on that one. Then the 2 middle flights both got canceled. So when that happens, what do you think? All the people that already had tickets are just going to get rolled over on the next one.
Yeah.
So then there's a 0% chance I'm going to get on the flight. So I'm pretty much effed. So then the the strategy is to try to go to another city where there's open flights to Denver or whatever your final destination is.
Yeah.
Which sucks because then you're taking 2 flights already. But you got to do what you got to
Might
do.
get there quicker.
It's part of the game. So I went from Charlotte to Chicago, and that itself took missing, I think, 2 or 3 other flights trying to get to other preferable cities like Phoenix, or for example. And so I got to Chicago, and mind you, my day started at 4:30 a.m. We had to drive from Hayesville, Georgia Hayesville, North Carolina to Charlotte, which takes 3 hours. So 3 hours in.
Was everybody flying the same day?
Yeah, but it was my brother and his fiance, and their flight was to Tampa from Charlotte at 8:50, and they both get on that, no problem. That's a very, very easy flight. So it's, I think, 5 p.m. when I get to Chicago. So I've already had a pretty big day.
Yep.
I touch down immediately. I get a text from my mom. Hey, the flight to Denver out of Chicago got canceled. As soon as I touch down, I'm like, that's when I start to lose it a little bit, because even when everything goes right at the airport, I still think, especially for myself, that it's not a very relaxing experience overall.
Yeah.
So when you just get off of I'm not sure how long the flight was. I think like 2 or 3 hours. I think, and when you get done with that, and you realize that you just not only did it for nothing, but now are in even, if anything, worse position than you were before.
Yeah.
That sucks. So that flight got canceled. There was another flight out of Chicago at 10. I didn't get on that flight, and then I tried going to Phoenix. I couldn't get to Phoenix. I tried, and that was at midnight. I think that was the last flight. And so it's midnight, and the next flight to Denver is not till 7. So I'm like, well, I might as well just stay here. So I slept on the floor at the Chicago airport.
Wow.
And it sucked, dude.
That's
It really
crazy.
sucks, because you don't realize, at least for myself, how I guess we kind of had this experience too when we went camping in Atlanta, and we were kind of just like sleeping on just straight ground. It's kind of the same thing, but worse in my opinion, because you're in this loud place. There's people walking around, moving around all over the place. It smelled bad on the floor, and it just I'd already been like through the ringer for that day, like, in the same.
Were you exhausted though? Did you still sleep?
I slept a little bit, but it's terrible sleep, and yeah, and I cried too because I felt so crappy, dude. I was so just stressed out and like sad, and I like after the fact, like it still sucks so bad that I would prefer if it didn't happen. But if you look at the silver lining, it does make you, as far as like really bad nights go, it could have been a lot worse, but it still sucked enough to make me feel really grateful for everything that I do have,
Yeah, definitely. Who are your favorite 3 people you saw in the airport?
Well, why do you ask?
Because I feel like,
what's the significance of that?
I feel like every time I've been in an airport for a long period of time, I've either gravitated to a person, like a stranger, or seen something fucking insane happen and been like grateful that I saw it and recognized that person was responsible for it, good, bad, or indifferent.
Nothing comes to mind immediately. Maybe if I continue to think about it, I'll think of something. But
do you spend a lot of time people watching the airport?
I try not to, because I just get so mad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really even want to get into that, but just the amount, it's just such a, in my opinion, like airports are just such a horrifying snapshot of reality, because my assessment of airports is no one wants to be where they are unless they just got there, and
that's half the people.
It's just not even. And
they get out of there.
There's a lot of people that are stressed out, unhappy, wound up, and I saw for myself, normally I would like to think I'm a pretty reasonable guy, pretty patient, going about most things, people would think that I'm a decent guy, right?
Yeah.
I was losing my mind. When you spend, that long in an
Yeah.
airport, which I already hate the airport, when you're there for I was there for 30 hours straight, one airport or another. And by the end of it, dude, I was probably like the worst version of myself imaginable.
Yeah, but that's after 30 hours of sitting in an airport. You have people that have been in an airport for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And they're freaking out.
Yeah, that's uncalled for. That's
super
definitely
uncalled for. Because airports, they are incredibly boring. The cabin fever ramp up is so fast. It just happens so much more quickly than like if you were cooped up in your house.
Well, a big part of it too, I think, is that the second you walk in the airport, you pretty much have to like give up all control, which for a lot of people is really important. You go in there, you're already getting herded like cattle through security,
yeah,
surrounded by people, and then you got these people who are like, take your shoes off, like stick your arms up, gotta pat you down real quick. It's like you got people touching you, you're bumping into people, you're cramped in a plane. I'm a toothpick, dude. I'm a toothpick.
Yeah.
I'm like a little bit taller than average, I guess, but I feel pretty uncomfortable overall in a plane. So most people are pretty big.
Most people are pretty big. Most people are pretty big. Here's my question for you. What do you think? So there's 3 people, and there are 4 armrests. How do you
3 people, 4 armrests? I think that.
How do you allocate them?
Okay, I think this is the correct answer in my opinion. Person in the window gets the one to the left. Person in the middle gets both. And the person on the right gets the one on the right.
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're on the aisle, you gotta fucking keep your arm to the left of the thing on your seat. That's where you gotta put your arm. You can put your arm over there, but the guy gets the whole thing. And if he's nice, he may move his arm up and give you a spot in the back. And you're allowed to kind of rest it on the back if he gives you that spot, if he's nice. But if he shifts a little bit and you think that he wants his arm rest, you gotta give it back. He was being nice for a little bit, but you gotta fucking move off. It's his, both 100%.
It's a very nonverbal. Well, it could be a lot of things. It could be either a nonverbal agreement. It could be a nonverbal altercation. It is interesting. Yeah. An interesting look into. Well, I don't know what you would call it. Kind of
human behavior,
territorial psychology.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you get even more granular, definitely territorial. Definitely stubbornness. Definitely pettiness. There's a lot to unpack. Fairness, for sure. Fairness is a huge part of it.
Important thing. It's about what's fair.
It's about what's fair. The aisle guy has more legroom. The window guys,
and he could go to the bathroom without having to ask somebody.
Definitely, yeah, huge. Because I would say a lot of times, because I'll get an aisle seat every time, if I can, like if the possibility's there, and I probably have peed on planes when I'm on an aisle seat, where I wouldn't have peed if I was in the middle seat or a window seat. I would have just held it.
Yeah.
But I just can go ahead and get it over with. I'm on the aisle seat. I don't even like doing that. I don't even like getting up when I'm on the aisle seat because I feel like I'm getting yelled at. So.
Yeah, because like when are you allowed to get up?
Yeah, even when the light's off, they're still like.
It's like frowned upon. You feel like.
Yeah. No, they say that. They say you still have to keep your seatbelt on, and I do.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
keep your seatbelt on.
Well, here's my thing, right? It is like, I guess for like some really heavy turbulence, but I'll be okay for some super heavy turbulence. But like, what's it for?
That's a good question. I'm sure there is a reason, but it's better to, especially, I think, it's very American to just be like, what's it for, bro?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm sure it's for something. Because, I mean, if you think about it, when there's turbulence, you do bump around sometimes. And there's been videos of people like hitting the ceiling. Yeah, that shit's awesome.
Oh, man.
All right, well, we got to take a quick break, but we still got a lot to unpack.
How long?
We'll be right back with the Porchcast. Have you ever been in an outdoor party and it's been dark as shit? You've just wanted a way for it to be bright again. Well, say no more, because I have the product for you. Tiki Torches is an innovative new product brought to you by the people who brought you the candle. Tiki Torches can be a great addition to any party. It brings a bunch of light. I have four Tiki Torches in my backyard, and me and Christian love them. Me and Christian love them. So thank you to Tiki Torches for having a great product and for helping sponsor the show. We are back. Well, where were we? What were we talking about when we left? We were talking about armrest, right?
Travel. Well, my experience,
Which we haven't even concluded.
What's the conclusion?
Last I checked, you slept on the floor. And
yeah, I slept on the floor. That sucked. I got up. My mom. It turned out that there was a flight to Phoenix at 5, which, might as well do it because what else am I going to do? Go back to bed? That was the worst. So I was able to get to Phoenix. I flew out at 5, got into Phoenix at, I think like 7. And then there was a flight pretty shortly after that to Denver. And then I made it. And then got an Uber home. And that's the end. Yeah. It's like 30 hours total.
What do you do after that?
In the airport, but then there's like all the other stuff. You know what, man? Because that's a long time to just be like, dude, I wish I was home. I wish I was in bed, blah, blah, blah. The way I am, dude, I got home and I was like, all right, I've already been through so much. I unpacked my bag. I did my laundry. I started my laundry, washed all my clothes. I trimmed my nails, brushed my teeth, do all that stuff. I had like a 4 or 5 day beard. I shaved, took a long shower, cleaned up our plate.
That was probably nice.
That was really good. That's kind of when I started to chill out a little bit. And I ordered food because I was like, dude, I'm not going grocery shopping right now. I'm not making anything. I ordered food. And
you said you cleaned the house a little bit, but I would say that I kept the house reasonably.
It was in good shape, but you know that there's things that I like to do that aren't necessarily your top priority. Like I like to wipe down all the counters. I like to sweep the floor frequently.
I like to go hard at the house sometimes, though. You don't like to mop.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that. I just don't really think to do it. I think a lot of the kind of things like that are just things that one of us just does not really think to do.
Right.
So
that's fucking crazy, dude. That's way too long to spend.
Yeah, and that's the type of thing that like when you're going through it, you're like, all right, I'm never flying again. It's not worth it. And now even just like a few days removed from that, I'm like, that's not really fair. It's not fair to just squander what could be really awesome opportunities, because at the end of the day, the vacation was really good overall. So it's not worth it to squander good opportunities just because something really crappy could happen. And that's probably the worst case scenario, what happened to me.
Yeah. Well, we haven't even talked about that part, is the trip.
The trip was really good. It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, imagine, dude, that's what's bullshit is you probably would have fucking way preferred to spend a whole other day doing that.
Anything else, dude. In my mind,
of course,
I split my trip up 50-50 so that I would do half of it there and then half of it here. So I could just have, because I like to just kind of take it easy. I'm kind of a homebody.
Definitely.
And
that's the reason I came home Saturday, middle of the day. So I wanted to have a whole weekend.
Yeah, I just love being able to just, Saturday, Sunday, just kind of take it easy. Do whatever I want to do. Not have to go do anything. So that was my experience. Did you want to, I guess, I know that there was another big segment which
we can do that whenever. If I don't want to.
Yeah, go ahead, because that could be another 30 minutes. So I didn't know how long that you.
Well, the interesting thing about this, and the thing I find intriguing, is that I've talked about this for hours. Countless hours. I've talked about it for hours with my dad.
When did it begin?
It began the night we were camping in Tampa. That was the first night it ever happened. when the second or third night I was in Florida when I went on vacation. So I went on vacation in Florida, and the second night and the third
Well,
night.
no, because it really began before that because you were thinking about going to North Carolina.
That's true.
I feel like that is the true beginning of the.
That's the true beginning of it for you. For this, but I don't think that those circumstances were as likely as these circumstances.
Okay.
These circumstances were thought through, were genuine and legitimate.
Well, you should say. I feel like this has gone on too long for us to just say that you're talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I had, and I want to unpack it while it goes. I had an opportunity, to take a risky but interesting and fun and a kind of against the mold job, against the grain job, and definitely kind of not a linear path, which is what I look for, and I'm probably on a linear path right now. So it was an opportunity to go on a more dynamic and curvy path, but I would have to move back to Florida, and I didn't want to do that at all. So that's high level what the situation was. So it first started at camp while we were camping. So it was the first or second night we camped, which is the second or third night I was there. I partied a lot that week, or like those 2 days, so I don't really remember which day was which, just because it's kind of a whole excursion. It's probably the first night. And Tess told us that this guy, Kevin, who we'll have to wait to release this until after some of the dust is settled. So this might be a special episode, like special episode 50, flashback. Kevin was working as a consultant for Florida Cracker, which is where my brother and Tess work. And he also started a tech company years ago, and he helped found it, and he sold it for tens of millions of dollars. I don't know how much he had, how much he got, but he didn't have to work again. And so Kevin was going to open a bar in Brooksville and go toe-to-toe with Florida Cracker Kitchen. He bought this place called the Hilltop Tavern, which is like this honky-tonk bar. And it was the place to go in Brooksville. So he bought it, and he started bidding on a liquor license. I haven't even told you this part. Sorry, really quick interjection. You and I haven't talked a lot about this. As many.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Say as many hours. This is what I was saying earlier. As many hours as I have talked about it, Christian and I have not spent a lot of time discussing this, which is interesting because I've talked ad nauseum about it with a lot of people. So we're talking about Kevin, and Kevin's buying this bar. He's bidding on this liquor license, and he bids against the owner of Florida Cracker Kitchen. He finds out he loses the bid for the liquor license.
What does that mean?
Which part?
I don't understand that concept. To bid for a liquor license? I thought that's just...
There's only so many available. So there's a set amount of liquor licenses in the world. You can't I don't think you can apply for more liquor licenses. So there's a set amount. So if you want to open a bar with a liquor license, you can probably get one. Think of it like eBay, buy it now for more expensive. But Kevin was looking for the more affordable option, so he was bidding for it.
I've never heard about something like that. I thought it was just something that is you kind of like a driver's license or something.
Oh no, you have to buy it for a lot of money. So the one that they bid on was $150,000.
Who do you buy it from?
I think from bars that closed.
I didn't know that at all, but go on.
I know that the price is right. I hadn't heard about that before. I think there's probably ways where you can just buy one for more money, but he bid on one for 150 or 100 whatever. He lost at 150. So he bought this bar, but so he's still gonna get the liquor license, and he wanted to poach Tess and Tyler. Tess for kind of running the bar and being kind of an ops focus, and Tyler for marketing, videography, photography, social media. And then I kind of, just the discussion went, we talked for a while, and I found a place there too. Theoretically. Kind of business and finance and anything administrative, and probably would just take on a lot of just pick up the slack, so to speak. And I was fine with that. Be doing a lot of different things. But I would be moving to Brooksville, Florida, and that thought keeps creeping in my head, and kept creeping through my head, and it was just so awful to think of. Which sounds bad, but it's just not my scene. It's not my scene. It's not where I want to live. It's not the people that I want to live by. Not that they're bad people, but it's just like an older population. It's not a lot of kids. It's not a lot of nightlife right now. This could be part of it, but that would be work. So that part really threw me off. Anyways, I go through that whole week thinking about it a lot, and I'm thinking about it a lot. I come home, I'm thinking about it a lot, and it genuinely became the hardest decision I've ever had to make. Like,
even more than when you left your previous job, because I know that really was a tough time.
Yeah.
So this was,
but this time I wasn't getting, like I wasn't having a bad day.
yeah, it's just a tough decision.
Tough
it's not
decision.
like you're not like suffering over it, I guess.
Not
in
at
that type
all.
of way.
No, not at all. Yeah, I wasn't suffering day to day while also having to make a decision, which was the difference. But I was frustrated. It was a dilemma. It was an absolute dilemma. But for the most part at work, I would be thinking about it, but it wouldn't beat me down most days. I talked about it for hours with my dad. Talked about it for a long time with Tyler. I talked to Kevin for an hour. Kevin's the guy.
Well, I thought that you would have spoken to him a lot.
Well, I spoke with him for about 3 hours over beers at Applebee's when I was in Tampa.
That's when you should have known that it was a questionable move. When you found yourself at Applebee's.
We were in Brooksville.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
You spend any time in an Applebee's as an adult.
I mean, no, it's honestly fine. We weren't there for the food. We sat on the patio and just got pictures of Bud Light.
That's how it starts. Next thing you know, you're living there, and then next thing after that, you're dead.
You're like, yeah, we'll get some mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
That's right. The gateway drug of all is the fucking mozzarella sticks. Isn't it? You're like, how are the quesadillas? Right?
They're microwave, dog.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that because when we used to go on hockey trips, we used to always go to this Chili's, and I like Chili's. Chili's is actually pretty good. If you went to a Chili's, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, in that tier of restaurants, I don't want to get too derailed though, because that's a whole other segment.
I just want to say one thing really quick about Chili's. We were there as a hockey team once, and all of our food got brought up, except for one guy. His enchiladas didn't come. And so he says, excuse me, I didn't get my enchiladas. And she goes, I know, they're in the microwave. And we all froze. Because it's like, we knew, but you just like, you made it real, right? Like, you opened the box and Schrodinger's cat was there.
If you don't see it happening, it could be anything.
It could be anything. A slow cooker. An air fryer.
Okay, so you talked to this guy.
So I talked to this guy for a few hours over beers. Awesome dude. Oh, I talked to him for about an hour at Florida Cracker Kitchen earlier that night by myself.
Is he a guy that like seems cool, but then he gets like, and then like over time you're like, this guy is crazy, or this guy.
I don't feel comfortable answering that.
I'm not talking about him specifically, but you know what I'm talking about, right? There's people that could come, they can make a good first impression, and then next thing you know, you're like, you realize that's all there is.
Yeah, Tyler and Ted spent a lot of time working with him, and I trust their judgment, and they say he's awesome.
Okay, I'm not denying that. I'm just
I could totally see him being one of those kind of guys, but he has been properly vetted.
Okay.
So we talked over beers for a while, and we came away just kind of like, we'll figure it out. So I get back, and it's just riddling my mind. Talk to my dad, talk to Tyler, talk to Kevin, talk to Austin for a while, talk to Christian Obando for a while. I brought it up at a bar with like a bunch of guys.
Was there a consensus, or was it all over?
The most common answer was, why don't you let it open, wait 6 months and see how it does, and if it does well, then you go. And that was a really, really common answer. But my answer to that was, that's literally defeats the entire purpose.
That's not right. Yeah, if you want to be a part of something, you should be there. Especially if you had the opportunity to be there at the beginning, you should be, right?
Yeah, of course. That's the fun part.
Especially if you would be able to be instrumental in getting it to that point too. And that almost doesn't even make any sense. Like, yeah, if they're in good shape after 6 months, maybe they won't be, but they would have had a much better shot if you were there, don't you think?
Yeah.
You'd think, right?
Yes,
So,
definitely.
it's besides the point.
Yeah. So that I don't like. I get the idea, and it's a very reasonable compromise, but it doesn't make sense. Like, it's a little bit too simple. It oversimplifies it. But I love it here. I love it here in Denver. My job, I'm very well positioned. For like, my plan is to keep this shit up, grind through it, and then get a really cool job. I think that's possible. I don't think I have a really cool job now, but I think I could get a really cool job with the experience I'm getting now. So I'm working my ass off and getting it done. So, and it's Brooksville, and I would be drinking at Applebee's all the time. When I can walk across the street to one of my favorite breweries of all time. I like that brewery. And one of my favorite taco places, and my favorite yoga studio, and a delicious burger place.
And that's just what you could walk to.
We can walk to.
Or you could drive to the mountains.
I could drive. I will tomorrow drive to the mountains and camp in Colorado.
And that was kind of and you would agree with this too. I have a lot of incentive to get you to want you to stay, which is fair.
Yes.
But it also kind of comes off like, if I try to tell you all the reasons that you should stay, of course it's super biased, but it's also true. It's like, okay, this is the first thing I told you. Why would you want to move from one of the most geographically awesome and culturally awesome places, forward-thinking places, to a place that's not necessarily the polar opposite, but
so
uncool.
Close.
Sort of close, you know?
Yeah, so uncool. So uncool.
Yeah, the opportunity, I think it's a really cool opportunity, especially to work with your brother. You can't deny that, but everything else, so is that what it kind of came down to, you think?
It's a big part of it. There was a lot of
Culture.
things, though. There was a lot of things that it came down to. I'm going to talk about all of them, but then I'm going to conclude with the biggest one, in my opinion. And what, if you really told me, squeeze it down to the very, very end, what it came down to, I'll tell you what it is. But what it came down to is that I'm well positioned at my job. I like the people that I work with. My days go by so fast. Every day goes by so fast. I like, every day is 3 o'clock hits, and I'm happy that it's 3 o'clock, but I'm also pissed that it's 3 o'clock because I don't have enough time in the day. I just don't have enough fucking time in the day, and it's so frustrating. But when I leave, I'm trying to just, like, I get up early so that when I leave. I just put it away as much as possible, and I'm getting good at that. So, anyways. But so yeah, and I like that work goes by fast. That's amazing. I love going to yoga right afterwards. I love, like, my routine that I'm in. I love the weather, that it's still, like, definitely doable to be on the porch right now doing the Porchcast, and will continue to be.
Was that kind of a consideration for you too, because you have a maybe good feeling about just doing this, or it's something that you kind of getting into that you enjoy? That maybe fills that gap of, like,
yeah, I hate to say it, kind of, because I don't want to put a lot of pressure on it, but it definitely was. It was a huge consideration, to the point where, like, I almost bought, like, a bunch of podcasting equipment the other day.
I don't think it really even warrants, at least in my opinion, to have a lot of pressure, just because I mean, I'm sure, like, it could be whatever we want it to be. We could put a ton of work into it and make it into something. But where we're at now, I think it's super fun, because It's just us doing what we would normally do, but
Yeah.
with a headset on.
I want to talk about that. I want to conclude the show and talk about kind of what this is to us and spend a little bit of time just like talking about that. Is that okay once we finish this?
Yeah. Have you thought of the logical conclusion to the dilemma?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, go ahead.
So I definitely did think about the podcast. I thought about the opportunity of getting an apartment facing the mountains and what that would look like. I thought about Tyler and Zach. Thought about Austin. I really like Tyler, Zach, and Austin. Like, I really like spending time with those guys. So
You think about us hanging out?
that's a no-brainer for sure. Like, that's like asking me to pick between brothers. You know?
Yeah, it's a tough call.
It's a really tough call.
Because you're always going to prefer the one that's not there because they're not frustrating you currently. You know?
I wouldn't say prefer is the right word.
You're always going to
long for
yeah,
maybe. So I thought about that. And I thought about my favorite places nearby, and I thought about the mountains, and I thought about how silly I would feel by going into my boss's office and telling him I was quitting my job to go open a bar in Brooksville, Florida. How silly that felt.
Yeah, but so
that
it's
oversimplifies
so crazy
it.
that, it might work. But
I know.
I mean,
It might.
at the end of the day, you made your choice.
Yeah, but what it really came down to, what the main idea and what the final straw that repaired the camel's back was that I'm happy now. And it's such a precarious thing to be happy, and to poke it even a little bit.
But what do you mean by that exactly?
Dangerous. Which part?
What do you mean by you're happy? Like would you say you're generally content with X, Y, and Z, or just all across the board things are good?
I generally speaking, and especially compared to other times in my life, I generally don't think about being sad and about being depressed. I'm nervous and I'm stressed, but I'm not sad anymore. And when I was in Tampa and I was going to USF and I was working at Longhorn, I was really sad the whole time. And I haven't been this consistently happy for a long time. And I feel like you're a product of your surroundings.
Of course.
And to mess with that felt like a bit of a betrayal
To yourself?
my body, myself. And that's, at the end of the day, what it really came down to.
So I guess I kind of know the answer to this, is that you feel like being given the opportunity, it also warranted being given such a big opportunity also warranted a big consideration. My question though is that if you were really happy, then why was it such a tough call? Or did I just answer my own question?
You answered your own question.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, you answered your own question. In fact, that goes to show how much I wanted to do it. Is that I was willing to overlook my happiness just to do it. Because as much as that was the determining factor, it was still a decision to feel that way. It was a decision to feel that I shouldn't mess with my happiness. I had to decide that. There was the other school of thought that I should.
Another thing, though, even than that, is can you ever really decide anything? Do we have free will at all? Why are we even
I do.
alive?
I really do. I really think I could have picked either of them.
I'm just kidding. I was just opening a can of worms as a goof.
But I didn't even tell you that the job offer also came in.
A formal job offer?
I wouldn't say a formal job offer, but it would have been.
In what form? And also,
it was given verbally. It was given verbally of a salary that was a significant cut to my current one. And the opportunity in 3 years to evaluate what my market rate would have been during those 3 years.
Could you explain what that means?
Okay, so let's say my salary was 20. And we determined that my market value was 50. I would get either $90,000, the difference between my market value during those 3 years and what I got.
Wait, how does that add up?
50 is my market value, 20 is what I got, 30 per year for 3 years. At the end of 3 years, I either get $90,000 and my $50,000 a year salary.
Like a
that's market
$90,000
value.
a year or
No,
$90,000?
$90,000 bonus for staying for 3 years, and then my salary goes up to that new market value, and I'm welcome to use that $90,000 for equity in the bar.
That's interesting. Is that a common thing?
No, it was a great offer. It was a great offer. A really, really good offer. In fact, I was 100% sure on Sunday, and the offer came in on Monday. So I told you on Sunday that I was staying, and then on Monday the offer came in. Actually, it was Sunday night. The offer came in, and I got rocked. I got punched in the face on Monday by that. And I almost.
You almost changed your mind after? Well, you can't do that.
No, I know. I knew I couldn't. I knew I couldn't.
Because, well, I mean, that's a big motivation, though. Money, obviously, it's important.
I think I could make more.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, sure.
Yeah,
I don't see why not, you know?
No, I'm just saying, like, it was a good offer, but my goal is to make more somehow. So that on Monday, I almost changed my mind on Monday right after your fucking airport, and on Tuesday, Monday was probably the most depressed I've been since Robert Half. Sorry, I don't. That's not the right word. Monday was the most sad that I felt since Robert Half. And Tuesday I still felt it. Wednesday was okay, and today was one of the best days I've had in months, and affirmed my decision. 100%.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm through it. Now I just have to tell Tyler next week.
You haven't told him yet?
He's at Newport Folk Festival, and I don't want to do that to him.
Are they going through with it regardless?
It's a no-brainer for them. They're moving across the street in the exact same jobs they have right now.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. And the opportunity could still be there down the line.
The only thing for Tyler is that Tyler was going to move to North Carolina on January 1st. So he's staying in Brooksville now. But he's moving across the street and, you know, working the same job for a really cool guy. If I were him, I would 100% do it. I would delay a move. But to undo a move,
Because that's what you would be doing?
I'll be undoing a move that I loved. He doesn't even know if he would love to move to North Carolina, just like we didn't know if we would love to move to Denver.
Yeah. So. I guess it wasn't boring.
It wasn't.
A boring experience. So.
It was not a boring experience. What else?
And something big could happen here.
Something big will happen here.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so. What else?
I don't know. Didn't you say there was something else that you wanted to?
Yeah, let's
Oh, talk
that-
about the Porchcast?
that was the conclusion of the show. So we're at an hour now. So it's up to you on
Well, is there something else that you wanted to bring up?
There is something else that we wanted to bring up, but
What?
that's the Porchcast.
Okay, then yeah, let's just go into that.
Okay. So what do you? So you didn't want to put too much pressure on it. I get that. I get that for sure. I'm wondering what our approach should be. Like, what do we think that the people listening would want this to be?
You know, I haven't really thought about that just because I
Don't care.
well, no, I think it'd be cool if we had people listening, but
Right.
I think that the people should either, and they would most likely be either our friends or our relatives, so
Right.
they probably wouldn't really care too much, and I would be open to suggestions, but also if we were to cultivate an audience, I think it would be cool if we had our audience other than people we know. It'd be cool to just have the audience be a product of us discussing whatever we want to discuss in whatever way that we want to discuss it,
Yeah.
rather than it being. And if it was an audience or content being driven by the audience, that's cool, but I wouldn't want that to be the biggest motivator, really. And I think that our format tonight was just like having a couple of things in mind that we wanted to talk about, but also talking about whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to go off on a million tangents, I'm fine with that. But if we have a certain amount of time, then I would prefer to keep things on the. If we're trying to talk about a specific thing, then I would like to keep things on the rails. But if it's like a Saturday afternoon, for instance, dude, we can go off on a million tangents. And if we get back to the point and it takes us 90 minutes, then that's fine too. I don't care.
Well, yeah. What are your? Because we have different probably length constraints.
Yeah, because on a Thursday night, I don't necessarily want to do this and then hop right in bed. I might want to, do something else for a little bit. So,
yep.
But
I agree.
Okay.
I'm gonna eat dinner and
yeah. So I think like keeping it to like 60 or maybe 90 minutes would be.
I think 90 is a good point. What do you feel? How do you feel about like segments and like bits?
I'm fine with that. I would prefer to maybe think about it more, and then you.
I agree.
Yeah, you also think about it, and then we could talk about it some other time, because we even talked about it a little bit before we started this. Is that I would prefer to be in agreement with something and maybe put a little bit of research into it, independent research, beforehand, than to just kind of off the cuff stuff, I guess. Yeah,
I do think that we might be married to the 2-minute drill. Because we announced it, we rolled it out.
Who's we?
You participated. So
I did, but I would also. I'm not going to say
participation.
no to something.
Yeah.
That's not, especially if I don't even have a better idea. That's just not fair.
I put you in a tough spot, but we have to. I feel like we would be sacrificing a bit of the integrity of the show if we were to shirk on our first recurring segment.
I don't know. So you just have to come up with a category and then say your favorite.
The other person has to say their favorite. Yeah.
I just think that we could come up with a cooler bit.
All right.
But also, I feel like I should have a better idea, and that's kind of goes back to my original point, is that I have put no thought into this, and I think that if I do put some thought into it, that I could probably come up with something cool that I would be into. But I don't want to freeball it right now, because I want to keep the conversation going.
Okay. Yeah, and I will say I looked up on the podcast app. And there are Porchcasts, but there is something called the Porchcast.
What does that mean, though? What do you mean there are Porchcasts?
There's podcasts called Porchcast. There's a podcast called Porchcast. There is not a podcast called the Porchcast. And theporchcast.io is available for free.
Oh, that's pretty cool. But that's almost the same thing, though.
I know.
Is it an active podcast?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do it.
Yeah, well, that's fair game, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I know, but like, are we publishing it?
Finders keepers, bro.
Yeah.
No, we publishing it where?
On podcasts, on the podcast app, and on Spotify.
Yeah, we could do that. I don't see why not.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'll figure it out tomorrow or Saturday when I get back.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's gonna buy the Porchcast in the next 48 hours. They've never done before this.
Well, why would they have to buy it?
Yeah, you're right. Reserve is the better word. So I think that at a certain point, I would be comfortable bringing guests onto the show.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Let's get another chair.
Would they have to be present, or could we?
I
flip
would.
them?
I was thinking of a full segment, full show with the guests.
Okay.
I think if we went full send.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
If we were having somebody here, I would want to do my research and to like really think about what I wanted to ask them because they'd be.
I also think it'd be really cool if we had some cool stuff to say just in our pocket, and you could just kind of bust it out, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So, or maybe things that happen, then you're like, dude, this thing happened, but we should talk about it on the Porchcast. I'd be like, okay.
Yes.
Then that will give me incentive to also kind of come up with something.
That's right. No, that's how I know. That's how Tom Segura and Christina Pazynski do it. They're married, but there's plenty of times where something will happen, and they wait. They'll wait to hear about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's
which you have to definitely do it. Okay, that's a good call. Who would? I think we're several episodes away from having a guest. But when we did, who do you think would make the cut for you?
I mean, any of our mutual friends, or not necessarily even mutual, but any of my friends.
I know who it's going to be.
Who?
Mike and Vince.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Yes.
Also, Dan said that he would love to come visit Denver when we were talking,
Yeah.
and that'd be a cool guest.
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
because of his recent accomplishment.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's almost like a public figure.
Yeah, I was talking to Ben and his wife last night about the Porchcast, and they would be willing to be guests, and I think they would be good guests actually. She's like I think it would be an interesting guest for us because she is a I'm trying to think about the best way. I would say that if I were to think about her in a business sense, she's a consultant, and her area of expertise is like personal branding and communication. But she works really closely with LinkedIn. She travels a bunch, and she like speaks at events and does seminars and stuff. It's pretty cool. She does some cool shit. So I think it'd be interesting to hear like from her and hear about how, because she like just built it herself. She just did it. Like it's her company. And her husband Ben, who's my friend, is just a really awesome dude. Really awesome dude. He works with CRM, so like Salesforce, for example. I don't know how much he uses Salesforce, but that's a customer relationship management tool. And so he's like an expert in those. So he's like an IT administrator for different CRMs. So that's what he does. I think they would be a good guest. I think they would be fun to have on, and they seemed interested. That would be way down the line, though. That would be when we were really comfortable and had.
I think the biggest thing for the Porchcast would be if the Porch itself was better, which is if we get into a superior unit, how awesome would that be?
It's gonna be so good.
I think the quality would go up so high because right now, is it really the Porch if you can't see anything? Because we're kind of trapped in here, dude.
Yeah, no, it's just a room.
It's the room cast.
It's the room cast. No updates today, by the way.
So we'll see.
All
right. Do you want to call it?
So
I have to pee really bad.
Well, so are we doing an ending segment, or are we gonna piece right out of here and revisit this on a later date?
What do you want to do?
Let's piece out of here. I apologize to the listeners, but I think that while we would be sacrificing a bit of integrity from the show, I think we would be maximizing the value of the show, and that's the ultimate goal here. So we're gonna circle back next week on the Porchcast, or maybe sooner, and we'll revisit the grand finale, and we'll have something for you next time you hear from us. How about that? We'll have something for you
Next week.
or sooner.
Okay.
Thank you again to Tiki Torches. We'll see you next time.